I was good on YouTube and I killed it. I killed it on YouTube. So, meaning I killed the feed. So I know we're not good right now. And I was, apparently. Now we are actually streaming on... Now I can verify we have a good connection on YouTube. So I failed, but I've recovered. If anybody can tell me if the volume is good on YouTube, that would be great. Again, YouTube always has a much, much smaller sample set. My audience is 20 times bigger at TikTok. So TikTok is good. YouTube should now be good. It was not good, so it should now be good. But if I can get a sound check over there, that'd be great as well.
Never fear, I'm here.
That's good, because I just struggled and wasn't broadcasting on YouTube, and I just had to restart the feed on YouTube about 5 minutes in. So now I got 4 minutes left.
Can I come in?
Yeah, come on in.
Here comes the blast of light. Hello.
All right. The she-devil is in the house to provide support from over my shoulder. So anyways, it does look like the YouTube is going. I just don't know if we have sound on YouTube. That's the only thing I haven't verified. The likes have really picked up, so thanks for that. Our viewership has been crushed. Weeks ago, my viewership got crushed, and I went from having an average of 80 to 100 people in my rooms to having like 15 to 40 people in my room, and I don't know exactly what happened. I have suspicions I'm being a little suppressed because of things I talk about, and so, but yeah, something's definitely happened on my account in the last couple weeks, and it's been depressing, but we'll just plug on. My main content anyways is long form, and that's mostly on YouTube, so we'll use TikTok to try to share with people on TikTok, but if you want to get the long form stuff, I really encourage you to watch on YouTube. It does look like the sound's good. Kimberly, thank you. The sound is good. Or yes, there is sound.
I can't see comments on here. What am I doing wrong?
I don't know. Are you watching? You're watching the live?
Aren't I?
Do you normally get to see comments?
Yeah.
I don't know. I see comments over here, so I get them on this screen. You can see it there. Kimberly's written to us there. Hey Renee, welcome into the room. Thanks for joining.
What the hell am I doing wrong?
All right, so I'm going to. You know what? I'm not going to be able to see my chat. Gosh, I have too many windows, and I'm trying to arrange things now so that in 8 minutes when we get started, I have a shot at this. I'm going to have to move this down, and I'm just going to have to deal with less on my screen at a time. All right.
All right. I see TikTok comments.
I see YouTube's got 5 concurrent viewers. We got somebody that's giving me a sound check. We're good there. We're good on TikTok for sound. So yeah, just settle in. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes with the official start of the live and my quote-unquote monologue that I do. And tonight is going to be... nobody took bets on your sneezing, but they would have lost right away. I don't know. But that's a normal thing. Yeah, so anyways. So Renee says bless you on TikTok.
Thank you.
You can't see the TikTok. You needed your phone to be able to watch the TikTok.
I can see TikTok.
Oh, you can see TikTok. Okay. All right. 2 minutes. I will say wish me luck. I'm going to be talking about some very, very meaty things tonight. And wish me luck that this is not going to be my last night on TikTok. Because I'm going to do my best. I feel like I have an idea what I can do to avoid getting in trouble. But the content moderators and the AI system and whatever is completely sporadic. And I have all kinds of things that I feel like I'm getting to understand. And then they surprise me again. So we'll see. They banned you today. So if they banned you today, how are you here? But thank you for letting me know. And I will try to be careful. But here's the $1 million thing. If I can't say anything that people who follow me want to hear me say, because that's why they're following me, then there's no reason to be on TikTok. So it's one of those, it's a catch-22. People aren't following me to hear me talk about kittens and rainbows. So if I have to talk about kittens and rainbows to avoid getting banned, then it's pointless to be here. So, and in fact, I hope that's not the case, but maybe that is the direction we're going. Maybe the direction we're going is it's going to be pointless to keep trying to make TikTok work for me. So we'll see. But we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to do my best. We're at 6 o'clock. Wow, how did that happen? We already got to the top of the hour. Fantastic. I will assure you, I will assure you we will not have any talk about kittens tonight, despite the fact that you love kittens. I love kittens. We've got 3 kittens.
Oh yeah, I got my chat back. I just had to relaunch it.
All right. For a disclaimer, you should be watching, if you can, on YouTube. The reason being is there is lots of stuff I'm going to be reading from mainstream media sources. And part of the reason why I'm reading from mainstream media sources is I'm going to try to appeal to TikTok's greater logic and say that I'm doing nothing but reading mainstream media sources. So unless they're telling us that mainstream media is hate speech, I'm just reading mainstream media's coverage, and I'm going to be highlighting some things from mainstream media and doing a lot of quotes. But if you want to read along, because it's going to be a lot easier to read on YouTube, I think, than it is on TikTok, I will do my best. Up above me on TikTok, but on YouTube it's over there, but it's over here on TikTok. I'm going to do my best to fit it in on that screen up there. You get a full wide screen on YouTube, so that's where you should watch if you really can. And you should, the sound's a little low, you say. Okay, the sound's a little low on TikTok. The sound is low on TikTok. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Let's go up to that. How's the sound now on TikTok? Did that change for you? On TikTok, is it any better? All right, so here we go. It's loud on your end. Did I just destroy you? I just gave it about a 50% bump. So if that is, okay, it's better. Some people are saying it's better. Some people think they may have to turn it down. All right, let's get going without further delay. Everything that you're going to hear tonight, by the way, is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and it is based on publicly available information, mainstream media sources, which I will be reading from. Nothing I say tonight should be taken as fact, unless I'm backing it straight out of court records, and all parties should be presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Keep in mind also that is one of the primary things that this channel focuses on, is the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in the court of law. I realize that in the case of tonight's topic, which is Luigi Mangione and the situation that he faces in his multiple court appearances, that the court of public opinion it has decided that we already know what happened, and that's all there is to it. I'm going to give you a show tonight called Follow the Money. And let me say this right off the bat. Regardless of how you feel about Luigi Mangione, meaning whether you believe he is guilty, innocent, or just innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, it doesn't matter. There is something for you in this show. This is going to be about the money. And I'm going to make an appeal from mainstream media sources. Let me make this quick appeal before we get started to explain why I say that I could be in danger from TikTok, but I shouldn't be. It is commonly mentioned over and over again that Brian Thompson was the CEO of the UnitedHealth, the largest health insurance company in the United States and perhaps the world. I didn't double check that, but we know for sure, largest healthcare company in the United States. That Brian Thompson, as the prosecution will tell you, was targeted. He was targeted because of who he was and what he did for a living. So when we talk about the money and we start talking about UnitedHealth and we talk about the money angle, keep in mind that the prosecution itself and all mainstream media will tell you Brian Thompson was targeted because he was the CEO of the UnitedHealth, and that is the largest healthcare company in the world. I think in the United States. Let's just say United States, because I didn't double check before the world, but I imagine probably the world. But let's just leave it at United States. So again, some people will say, if I bring out the money trail, if I talk about the money trail about UnitedHealth and what was going on leading up to the Brian Thompson situation, they will say that somehow I am practicing some sketchy logic. All I'm doing is reporting on the media like CNN would do, like Fox would do, like any mainstream media, and in fact we will be quoting those sources. Tonight's discussion is going to be very, very deep, and I don't expect you to understand everything. Let me tell you this as well. Again, don't feel inadequate if you can't follow the connections I'm making. And the reason why I say this is because I'm going to have to be super careful, and I'm just going to have to read you facts. I'm just going to have to show you facts from mainstream media sources. It's going to be up to you to put your thinking caps on and try to make the connections that I'm leading you to, but you need to put your thinking caps on for TikTok. Now, When we get done with TikTok, there's a section that I keep doing now lately, which is called Too Hot for TikTok, where I will shut down the TikTok feed and I will continue this on YouTube. Once again, I encourage you to be watching on YouTube, because when we get done with this section where I'm going to have to just read the facts and let you do your own thinking, when I shut down the TikTok feed and continue on with just the Too Hot for TikTok section, that's when I can tell you my opinions and let you see what I saw. So this will be a great test for you. How smart are you? Can you follow the logic without being told what to look for? And then when we get to if you stay with me on YouTube and you hear what I saw, did you see the same things? That's going to be up for you. So again, I'm going to be sticking to facts and information on TikTok with very, very minimal interpretation. And then when we get done, we will shut the TikTok feed and we will go to YouTube. We will stay on YouTube, where I will talk about my interpretation. I kind of liken this. I was telling my wife, this is kind of like a big house party. We're in the front yard right now, where all the kids are invited to be, right? And then when the kids get sent home and go to bed, the adults move to the backyard and we have that adult conversation.
After party.
The after party.
Yeah.
So TikTok is our front yard. All kids and families are welcome. But after the kids are kind of tired out and they get to go home, the adults will go to the backyard and we'll talk in the backyard on the YouTube channel. We'll have the adult conversation. All right. So let's get diving into this. First of all, if you can see my website up above, Devil's Advocates, I'm going to be covering the money. Like I said, this is called Follow the Money. There's a section on my website called Luigi Mangione. You can see it up above if you're looking on TikTok, or to the side if we're on YouTube. I got to get my fingers in the right position. All right. So if I click on the Luigi Mangione and I give my slow ass web server for some reason to serve up this page, I'm going to show you something that I want you to pay attention to. This will help you out later on if you are trying to follow the money. Here is, it's still apparently loading the Luigi Mangione. I need to talk to my web hoster, because they have some crushed thing. Say, here's the Luigi Mangione. You should see it scrolling up above. You should see it scrolling on the side on YouTube. This has got a summary of my position in case you've never seen it, but look at this. This green, you see the green text? Green for money. Follow the money. If you want to follow my logic, a lot of what I'm talking about tonight is in this timeline going back years, following the money. And the green paragraphs will help you identify the money trail. Okay? Now there's 2 or 3 different money trails in here, and it can get very complex. So I just wanted you to see it so that you can see on my website how much information I've got on a timeline. I've been building a timeline since the beginning of this case, and all these green paragraphs that you're seeing scrolling by, that is part of the Follow the Money. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. So and again, let me reiterate, regardless of what you feel Luigi's role in this is, whether or not you feel he's guilty or not guilty, the money is the important thing. Follow the money. I always got told that when I was first into critical thinking and conspiracy theory. They say always follow the money. You almost always uncover big secrets when you follow the money. So we're going to follow the money tonight. All right. Now I'm going to start in an odd place tonight. I'm going to start with a book in 2010. You can see it on both YouTube and TikTok. Delay, Deny, Defend. This was a book that was published in paperback in 2010. I want to highlight the summary of the book from the opening sentences that are highlighted. Why insurance companies don't pay claims and what you can do about it. An expose of the insurance injustice and a plan for consumers and lawmakers to fight back. The denial of valid insurance claims is not occasional or accidental, or the fault of a few bad employees. It is the result of an increasing and systemic focus on maximizing profits by major companies such as Allstate and State Farm. Now, if you recall, why am I bringing this up? I'm going to do a minimal interpretation for you on TikTok. Minimal interpretation. If you recall, the shooter at the scene in New York who eliminated the CEO of UnitedHealth had 3 bullet casings left at the scene, which had the words deny, defend, and depose written on it. Mainstream media picked up on it all over the place that this was likely a reference to this book, Delay, Deny, Defend. Why am I making the point on this? Understand, even the prosecution believes that what happened to Brian Thompson is a matter of money. It has to do with the denials of claims. It is a money issue amongst the largest healthcare insurer in the United States. I want to also now focus on 2016, and again, you might want to take notes on this. You might want to jot little notes if you want to follow the money, or you can just go to the devilsadvocates.info website. Again, I have a lot of this, most everything in here in green highlights. 2016, Mangione's now deleted Reddit account, Mr. Cactus. This appeared in multiple mainstream media presentations, documentaries about Luigi Mangione. In it, they talked about Mr. Cactus, who they said was verified to be Luigi Mangione, and he was talking about a medical condition, a back condition he had known as a spondy, in which bones slip out of alignment and put pressure on the nerves in your spine, and it caused him great pain. According to the Reddit account, Mr. Cactus was reported on in multiple documentaries, Luigi Mangione, The Mind of a Killer, and such as those things. There have been 4 documentaries so far. So just keep in mind, Mr. Cactus, they say Luigi Mangione himself had medical issues. He was not a customer of UnitedHealth. Keep that in mind. But he had, that's what they wanted to paint in a lot of the narratives. I'm just covering mainstream media and the prosecution's case. They will say Luigi Mangione targeted Brian Thompson because he was the CEO of a major healthcare company. 2018, the publishing of An American Sickness, How Healthcare Became Big Business and How You Can Take It Back. I'm going to put that on screen for you. Looks like it's okay on YouTube and TikTok. This is the book. I want to remind you, by the way, I'm going to do a little self-plug. You can't see it so great on TikTok, but you can see it great on YouTube. This is Luigi's bookshelf, An American Sickness. I've been reviewing this book chapter by chapter and doing full chapter reviews because allegedly Luigi Mangione told people that he had a beef with the healthcare system, but he wasn't the right person to explain it. That if you wanted to understand it, you should read An American Sickness by Elizabeth Rosenthal and watch the movie Sicko by Michael Moore. So we did those things. As a group, I try to lead people to let's look at American Sickness. Let's see what it says. That book will make you nauseous if you live in America. In fact, I know it makes you nauseous if you live anywhere else because I have people literally from all over the world who tell me, what the hell is wrong with you Americans in your healthcare system? How is this not enraging you? Well, I would argue it has. But let's read some snippets from An American Sickness because this is all part of the money trail. I want you to understand. This was a New York Times bestseller, a Washington Post notable book, best book of the year by Wall Street Journal and NPR. So if I'm not allowed to talk about that book, when all these other places talk about that book, we've got problems, TikTok. So let's keep going. This book will serve as the definitive guide to the past and future of healthcare in America. Definitive guide to the healthcare situation in America. At a moment of drastic and political upheaval, An American Sickness is a shocking investigation into the dysfunctional healthcare system and offers practical solutions to its myriad of problems. Now, I've got a lot of highlights here, but I want you, again, I need you to kind of read between the lines and pay attention and follow the money. In these troubled times, perhaps no institution has unraveled more quickly and more completely than American medicine. In only a few decades, the medical system has been overrun by organizations seeking to exploit for profit the trust that vulnerable and sick Americans place on healthcare. Our politicians have proven themselves either unwilling or incapable of reining in an increasingly outrageous costs faced by patients and market-based solutions only seen to funnel larger and larger sums of money into the hands of corporations. I want to stop for a moment. One of the things I can tell you that the readers of American Sickness have learned from watching my book review is every single time the United States government has attempted to fix the out-of-control abuse of insurance companies in America, every single time the insurance companies make it more profitable for themselves. And they take the very things that are designed to curtail them and make it more profitable. That has been chapter after chapter after chapter of this book. The U.S. government has attempted to rein this in, and they can't. Every time they try to fix it, the insurance industry and healthcare industry, top to bottom, not just insurance, we're talking doctors, hospitals, the whole thing, the entire system finds a way to make it more profitable while they're simultaneously trying to fix the out-of-control healthcare costs in the United States. I want to reiterate as well, 2/3 of bankruptcies in the United States are healthcare related, either because people can't afford the medical bills or they can't afford the loss of work time from missing work in the hospital. 2/3 of all bankruptcies in the United States are because of healthcare related costs. Continuing on. So follow the money. This is all about money, I'm telling you. Impossibly high insurance premiums and inexplicably large bills have become a fact of life. Fatalism has set in. Fatalism has set in. Very quickly, Americans have been made to accept paying more for less. How did healthcare in this carrying endeavor become healthcare the highly profitable industry? Hospital systems, which are managed by business executives, behave like predatory lenders, hounding patients and seizing their homes. Research charities are in bed with big pharmaceutical companies, which surreptitiously profit from their donations made by working people. Patients receive bills in code from entrepreneurial doctors they never even saw. Again, I'm praying TikTok understands. I'm reading a summary from a New York Times best-selling book, book of the year, all of these things. If I'm not allowed to repeat what Elizabeth Rosenthal says about our American healthcare system, I don't know what's wrong with TikTok. But let's just assume we're okay. Let's assume we're okay. Let's move on. 2019, UnitedHealthcare. Now listen to this. In 2019, UnitedHealthcare post-acute care denials for Medicare Advantage were 8.7%. Okay, 8.7%. That's how often they denied things under the Medicare Advantage program. By 2022, that number would skyrocket to 22.7% denials. I want to focus now on an article that is going to highlight the money. Follow the money. Let me do this. How UnitedHealthcare and other insurance use AI to deny claims. Look at who's the poster child of this article. Do you see it? Okay. The fatal shooting of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson on Wednesday has sparked public scrutiny in health insurers, especially regarding their use of AI in evaluating claims. Multiple outlets report on Thursday that shell casings from the shooting have the words "deny, defend, oppose" written on them. We've talked about this. At the same time, posts on social media have been claiming that UnitedHealthcare's claim denial rate is the highest in the industry. And you wonder why this is the motive, the money motive. This has to do with people losing their homes, losing their security, losing everything, losing their retirement funds because they can't afford the healthcare system because the system has designed it so that you go broke. At the same time, let's see, in October, a report from the U.S. Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations showed that the nation's insurers have been using AI-powered tools to deny some claims from Medicare Advantage plan to subscribers. We're going to look, by the way, at the Senate documents. You're going to see it. This is something the United States government is well aware of. This is a broken and out-of-control system, and you need to follow the money if you want to understand what happened.
Mr. Cabretti says...
Yes, I saw that. I would love to have Mr. Cabretti on. Him and I talked a little bit about...
He's warning you.
He's warning me?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
This is when they came after me.
So I think he was talking about the medical industry. The report found that UnitedHealthcare's denial rate for post-acute care, healthcare needed to be to transition people out of hospitals and back into their homes. For people with Medicare Advantage, plans rose to 22.7% in 2022 from 10% in 2020. Now, I have that highlighted in purple because I wanted to show you from mainstream media, I didn't just make that number up. It was 8.7% in 2019. That was the denial rate. It jumped to 22.7%. This started to become a national epidemic. People were starting to become outraged. As you will see, people started to mobilize against UnitedHealthcare. There's 1 million people who have a beef with UnitedHealthcare. So we'll continue on. Follow the money. The rise coincides with UnitedHealthcare's implementation of an AI model called NH Predict. Pay attention. These are going to come up more and more. Originally developed by Navi Health, a subsidiary of UnitedHealth Group that has since been rebranded. By the way, I want to point out, when I told you before, don't feel stupid about this. Don't feel stupid if you can't follow. They rebrand things. This is why they rebrand things. They don't want you to understand what's happening. The entire system knows how to hide the money. Following the money is designed on purpose to be difficult to follow. They rebrand, they rename, they retitle things so that you have a hard time following the money. So don't feel stupid if you have a hard time following the money. They make it that way on purpose. Both UnitedHealth and Humana are currently facing lawsuits over the use of NH Predict. That's the AI model that automatically denies claims. The suits allege that insurers pressured case managers to follow the algorithm's length of stay recommendations even when clinicians and families objected. One lawsuit filed last year against UnitedHealth claims that 90% of the algorithm's recommendations were reversed on appeal, meaning it was getting it wrong 90% of the time. And at that time, when they fought it, they were getting them reversed. Now they're not getting them reversed, also leading to follow the money. The lawsuit states that the UnitedHealthcare wrongfully denied elderly patients care by overriding their treating physicians' determinations as to medically necessary care based on the AI model that defendants know has a 90% error rate. Let me make sure you understand that. So doctors are saying that my patient needs this, it's medically necessary. An AI program says I'm going to deny it 90% of the time, and it was wrong 90% of the time. That might be all I need for covering on that article. All right. 2020. You're going to wonder, where the hell does this come in? Pocket this one for later. Luigi Mangione graduates in 2020. He receives a bachelor's and a master's degree simultaneously. He's got a bachelor's of science and engineering and computer engineering and a master's of science and engineering and computer and information sciences. He's a computer guy, a computer nerd. He also, while at the University of Pennsylvania, formed the Upgrade Club, which is the University of Pennsylvania game research and development environment for computer gamers. I have a picture, I think. Well, first of all, here's about Luigi's degrees. We're going to read a little bit from that, but here's Upgrade. You can see the Upgrade. This is the current Upgrade class at University of Pennsylvania. These are a bunch of computer nerds. Luigi Mangione knows a hell of a lot about, hey Samsy, thanks for saying hi. So a lot of stuff about computers. He got a double degree, bachelor's and master's in 2020. Let's cover some highlights that I thought were important as we follow the money. All right. 2020 Penn grad murder suspect Luigi Mangione detailed health impact of Fraternity Hell Week. When Mangione was arrested, authorities found a 262-word note about his fight against the parasitic healthcare industry. In it, he wrote that Thompson's murder was a symbolic takedown and a direct challenge to UnitedHealthcare's alleged corruption and power games. So, again, if you believe Luigi Mangione is guilty, allegedly, that's what his so-called manifesto stated, was that he had a beef with UnitedHealthcare and the insurance industry, which he called a parasitic healthcare industry. Again, these are words from mainstream media reporting, so be gentle, TikTok. While a student at Pennsylvania, Mangione pursued a dual degree in engineering and founded the university's first game development club, which we called Upgrade, all while periodically suffering from a back issue and brain fog. Mangione graduated from Penn in 2020 with a bachelor's and master's degree in computer and information sciences after 4 years and was inducted into Penn's Kappa Nu Honor Society for Excellence in Electrical and Computer Engineering. Now I have a different colored highlight, so I want to focus on this for some different reason. Several of the available courses for his degree in computer and information sciences would have involved 3D printing knowledge. At the time of his arrest, Mangione was in possession of a 3D printed ghost gun in his backpack, which is widely believed to have been made himself. Now, hang on for those of you who are like really, really hardcore, Luigi Mangione is innocent and set up and framed. I'm not saying that's not true. Just follow the money. That's the important thing to follow. Stay with me. We're not even talking about that gun. We're talking about following the money. All right, but I wanted to highlight it because it was in this article and I thought it was worth mentioning. Mangione was a member of the Phi Kappa Psi, a university-affiliated fraternity. He suffered from mental and physical problems while at Penn, which he claimed in a social media post was exacerbated by his Fraternity Hell Week, the final week of intense pledge, blah, 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 blah. It's just documenting in this mainstream media source that Mangione had medical issues. And I realized for you on YouTube or TikTok, you're not seeing it great. I'm sorry about that. I've refocused it a little bit on YouTube or on TikTok so that you can see what they're seeing on YouTube. In July 2023, a July 2023 post indicated an injury flare-up around the region. Mr. Cactus on his Reddit account had gone surfing, while other posts suggested the user had spinal fusion surgery about the same time. I think a lot of this we can skip. I'm just going to get down to the important money parts. While the killing, this is Brian Thompson. prompted speculation that Mangione had negative personal experiences with the healthcare system. His Reddit posts point to a largely positive experience with his spinal fusion surgery. Let me remind you, Luigi Mangione was not a UnitedHealthcare customer, and he indicated that things went well with his surgery. But the narrative in the media has been to focus on his beef with the health insurance industry. There's a dichotomy that's going on in this whole case. They want you to, at one hand, tell you that Brian Thompson was targeted because he was a healthcare CEO, and then at the other time they want to tell you that it had nothing to do with United Healthcare and the money situation, because they don't want you looking at the money. They want you just looking at this guy just had a problem with rich people, and it wasn't specifically the health insurance industry. Let's continue on. 2021, January 6th, United Healthcare Group, through its Optum division, that's a sub company owned by UnitedHealth, purchases Change Healthcare. This is where the money is going to start getting super confusing for you people. So I apologize. Do your best to understand, to follow the money. United Healthcare Group purchases Change Health. Okay, and we're going to show this in some paperwork coming up. Let me give you a bunch of facts and then we'll see it. Okay, so immediately after United Healthcare goes to purchase Change Health, the Department of Justice, the United States Department of Justice, steps in and says, no, you cannot purchase Change Healthcare. That is an antitrust violation. You are consolidating too much power and too much control in one area. By the purchase of Change Health, not to get it's super complex for people, so I'm going to try to boil it down a little simple. Change Health basically gathers data from all kinds of different people's sicknesses and billing practices to help determine what the right cost of billing would be all across the board. United Healthcare being the largest healthcare company, and one could argue, by the way, that Change Healthcare was kind of a patient advocacy group. It's to help patients get better rates, to know what's fair and what's not fair in their billing. United Healthcare purchased that plan, therefore allowing them not only to see what everything their competitors were doing and what rates their competitors were doing, but they can then control what gets told to people about their prices and what's fair. The whole thing was completely monopolistic and an antitrust violation, which is why the Department of Justice stepped in and said, essentially, no. You cannot purchase Change Health. Now, here's the problem. They fought it, Change Health, and a judge gave them some time to basically kind of work out the details. Is it illegal or not illegal? Is it an antitrust violation to purchase Change Health or not? In February of 2022, so that was in that was January 2021 when they moved to purchase Change Health, and the Department of Justice told them, do not purchase Change Health, that's antitrust violation. A year later, essentially on February 2022, the DOJ files a lawsuit. The DOJ files a lawsuit against United Healthcare to block the merger and acquisition of Change Health. So there's now an official lawsuit against United Healthcare, trying to stop them from breaking antitrust violations. And so they file a lawsuit. All right, now I'm going to take a look at that. Here it is from the Department of Justice, their archives. Justice Department sues to block United Healthcare Group's acquisition of Change Health. I want you to understand. I want to make sure you understand. Follow the money. I'm going to try to center this better on TikTok. I see that it's not centered as great. I'm going to do my best to have it good on YouTube and good on TikTok. There's a lot of things I want to read here. The main takeaways that I want you to get is, again, the Department of Justice was investigating United Healthcare, telling them you must not buy and purchase Change Healthcare because that is an antitrust violation. They were under investigation. It becomes huge in the follow the money trail. All right, Justice Department sues to block, and here we go. Acquisitions would allow healthcare giant to use competitively sensitive claims data of hundreds of millions of Americans to reduce their competition and innovation to the detriment of the health insurance consumer. So in other words, the government saying this is horrible for consumers. It's going to hurt patients. Already, by the way, who 2/3 of Americans are going bankrupt because of health care costs. The Department of Justice, together with the Attorney General in Minnesota, that's where United Healthcare is centered, and New York, filed a civil lawsuit today to stop United Healthcare Group, United, from acquiring Change Healthcare, known as Change, and the complaint filed in the U.S. District Court of District of Columbia alleges that the proposed $13 billion transaction would harm competition in commercial health insurance markets, as well as in the market for vital technology used by health insurers to process health insurance claims and reduce health insurance costs. Again, there's a lot here. Understand, UnitedHealthcare is under investigation and a lawsuit filed by the Department of Justice saying that what you are doing is hurting people and is bad for America. Quality health insurance should be accessible to all Americans, said Attorney General Merrick Garland. If America's largest health insurer is permitted to acquire a major rival for critical healthcare claims technologies, it will undermine the competition for health insurance and stifle innovation in the employer health industry insurance markets. The Justice Department is committed to challenging the anti-competitive merger, particularly those at the intersection of healthcare and data. Okay, keep following the money. I know it's a lot. And buckle in. I'm hoping you're still with me. It's going to get a little deep, but again, they try to hide the money because they don't want you to make the connections. They rebrand things all the time so that you have a hard time following the money. The proposed transaction threatens an inflection point in the healthcare industry by giving United control of critical data highway through which about half of all American health insurance claims pass each year. Half of all Americans pass through Change Health, and United wants to buy it. Unless the deal is blocked, UnitedHealthcare, that is, stands to see and potentially use its health insurance rivals' competitively sensitive information for its own business purpose and to control the competitors' access to innovations in vital healthcare technology. The department's lawsuit makes it clear that we will not hesitate to challenge this transaction that harms competition by placing so much control of data and innovation in the hands of a single firm. As alleged in the complaint, the proposed transaction would give United, a massive company that owns the largest health insurer in the United States, access to vast amounts of its rivals' health insurance and competitively sensitive information. The proposed transaction would also eliminate United's only major rival for first pass claims editing technology, a critical product used to effectively process health insurance claims and save health insurers billions of dollars each year, and give United a monopoly share in the market. Understand this paragraph when you follow the money. This purchase of Change Health eliminated their only major competition or rival and allows them unprecedented control of setting the prices. This is the money. If you don't understand it fully, I understand. Do your best. It's deep stuff. UnitedHealthcare, the largest health insurance insurer in the United States. So again, I was trying to be careful not to say in the world. I kept saying United States because I'm like, probably maybe, I want to say it's also in the world, but maybe it's just the United States. All right. Again, if you can't follow everything that's going on, do your best. All right. So then
you'll explain later, right?
I will explain more in the questions and answers portion, which is after TikTok gets shut down. You want to ask me what the connections I'm making, feel free. And if Mr. Cobretti is able to go with me on YouTube somehow, we'll get his opinions on it as well, because I know he follows the money as well. October 3rd. The completion of the acquisition of, let's go to September 19th, 2022. Judge Carl Nichols actually rules in favor of UnitedHealthcare, allowing the purchase to go through of Change Health. Now, here's what happened, and I don't want to bore you with all of the details, which is basically United argued that they couldn't prove what jurisdiction they were getting a monopoly in. Well, we're just in this state, or are we in this state? What state is it? You have to define what jurisdiction we're in. And a judge basically bought the argument that they couldn't define what jurisdiction they were fighting over, so he allowed the purchase to go through. DOJ continued to pursue this illegal, what they considered an illegal acquisition of Change Health, but a judge allowed it to go through, while the DOJ continued to pursue their pursuit of an illegal antitrust violation. The DOJ then filed an appeal. So a judge ruled in favor of UnitedHealthcare, saying, yeah, go ahead and purchase Change Health. The DOJ then filed an appeal and said, nope, we're going to still fight this. October 3rd, 2022. The completion of the acquisition of Change Health is completed on October 3rd, even though the Department of Justice was appealing the decision of allowing that purchase. Okay, so just keep following the money. Right now, Change Health is allowed to be purchased, and the DOJ is all over saying, this is bullshit, we will fight it. You did something illegal, and we intend to see it through. 2023. Oh, let's go. I need to take a look. At the same time that this is all happening, all of a sudden we have the formation of a very interesting group. I've mentioned this group before. I think one of my viewers in here, I don't know if she's still here, just curious, pointed me out to some protests that happened at UnitedHealthcare. Those protests were performed by a group called the People's Action Institute. Their campaign was called Care Over Costs. Have you ever heard this phrase? People over profits. If you were watching some of my series on over time on the Devil's Advocates, you will know I covered the Law and Order episode called Folk Hero, which was basically designed to cover the Luigi Mangione story in a fictional thing. The shooter in the Folk Hero episode, the fictional episode, had people over profits. This is care over costs. It's a very similar thing. The People's Action Group basically formed to combat this problem. So the People's Action Institute, I'm looking for my update, or my website that I wanted to show you, and why am I not finding that? I think I just got it out of control. So I think this is it right here. You bored? Okay. The People's Action Institute addresses the health crisis caused by corporations that put profits over people instead of prioritizing care over costs. This is them, a picture of them protesting out of UnitedHealthcare. UnitedHealth denies care. This is what they said. There's also an image, I don't know if it's in this article, I'm scrolling down, of them carrying a coffin around in front of UnitedHealthcare, where Brian Thompson was at the time, that said the same thing. UnitedHealth denies care. So the people over profits, it focuses on care over costs. The healthcare system in the United States has been so broken for years, with private health insurers like UnitedHealth denying care at an alarming rate of over 248 million times annually. This widespread practice is not just an inconvenience, it's a matter of life and death. Millions of Americans are being forced to make unbearable choices daily or forgo necessary medical treatment, struggle to afford basic needs like food and rent, or face financial ruin. Follow the money. Now groups are mobilizing against UnitedHealthcare. UnitedHealthcare is in the news because they are using AI to deny claims at a 90% denial rate. People are losing their minds. It's all about profit. It's all about making more money for the shareholders. The Department of Justice is moving against them for anti-monopoly, antitrust laws. People are forming groups and protesting outside UnitedHealthcare. For those who don't believe Luigi Mangione was involved, think of how many people now are potential suspects. How many people are potential suspects who have noticed that UnitedHealthcare is leading the way in completely destroying the fabric of our American healthcare system? This is what the argument is of this group here. Again, this is mainstream media sources. I'm just reading from mainstream media sources. For years, People Action Institute has stood with Americans suffering under a healthcare system that prioritizes corporate profits over patient care. That was their chief of strategy and partnership. The tragic killing of Brian Thompson is a stark reminder that we face crisis on multiple fronts. Gun violence and healthcare are injustice. We extend our condolences to his family and demand action on both fronts. People across the country are denied the care that they need by a system that puts profits over people. Keep in mind, this group is specifically saying it's not okay to shoot Brian Thompson. We don't believe in out-of-control gun laws either, and it's a tragedy. However, let's not forget to follow the money. Why did this happen in the first place? In 2022, People's Action Institute launched the Care Over Cost campaign. We fought back by holding insurers accountable, but despite our meetings with major companies like UnitedHealth, this has always been the target, they refused to make meaningful changes. That's why I was arrested outside of UnitedHealthcare's office this July. It's clear the government must act to fix a system that puts profits over people's health. The time to act is now. People's Action Institute is calling on lawmakers at all levels to take bold action to hold private insurers accountable, ensure access is to necessary care, and reform a broken system that prioritizes profits over people's health. All right? The government has the power to curb the epidemic. Not true. If you read Elizabeth Rosenthal's book, An American Sickness, you will find every single time. We're going to get, by the way, to the Cyberattack. We're going to get to that. That's Change Health. So somebody in my chat is ahead of us. We are going to get to Change Health's role in the Cyberattack. All of this is the follow the money trail. The government has the power to curb the epidemic of care denials and privatize Medicare, privatize Medicaid, marketplace, and employment run plans.
Thank you.
I only argue about that because if you look at American Sickness, the book by Elizabeth Rosenthal, who's a doctor, every single time the government tries to fix this problem, the industry finds a way to make it more profitable for them and get around it and use it as a loophole. We're calling on policymakers at every level to take on corporate greed in the insurance industry. States can end claim denials in Medicaid and ACA plans, and Congress can regulate privatized Medicare, stopping the harmful practice of prior authorizations that delay care. The solution is simple: government action to hold insurers accountable and protect people's health. All right.
So there's some comments. I don't know if you want to address.
Sure, go ahead and give me a moment. I'm going to pull up the next thing that I'm trying to find here. Did you have a question? Or are
Those
you?
are some comments you should look at.
I worked for a pharmaceutical company and know a couple people at United. BT had an interesting rep. Did anyone know to look to see if Lou is associated with this group in any way? I have looked into that, Kimberly. Let's table that. Yes, caused after the acquisition of Change. That wasn't a hack. That was a deliberate information data set. Okay, yeah, we're going to catch up. We've got a lot to cover, and I'm already 41 minutes in it. This is going to be maybe one of the longest ones I've ever done. Let's just keep going. This is from April 23rd, but this is reporting on, again, this whole UnitedHealth thing. UnitedHealth, and let me get it focused a little bit better for you on TikTok. So there you go. I'm moving the screen on TikTok for you. UnitedHealth reports $7.9 billion second quarter profits as protesters decry coverage denials. There's that coffin I was telling you about. UnitedHealthcare denies care. They're carrying a coffin outside the headquarters of UnitedHealthcare where Brian Thompson's at. Kind of an eerie little freaking thing there. UnitedHealthcare Group, or Health Group, by the way, UnitedHealth Group is the parent company of UnitedHealthcare. Andrew Whitty is the CEO of UnitedHealth Group. Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. When you follow the money and you get into the lawsuits, you need to remember these names.
Don't forget water.
Yeah. UnitedHealth Group announced on Tuesday a staggering UnitedHealth Group announced on Tuesday a staggering $7.9 billion in profits for the second quarter of 2024, a day after 150 people assembled outside the company's headquarters in Minnetonka, Minnesota, to protest its systemic denial of health care coverage. UnitedHealth Group's $7.9 billion quarterly profit. That's $7 billion in a quarter of profit. Is the result of a business model built on pocketing premiums and billions of dollars in public funds, then profiting by refusing to authorize or pay for care. Denial of claims. So they were just listing who said that. People should not have to turn to public petitions or direct actions to get UnitedHealthcare to pay for the care that they need to live. That makes no sense, unless you're a shareholder or an executive eyeing your next big luxury purchase. This is all about the money. Follow the money. It's all about the money. Whoever did the shooting was motivated by money, greed, and all that stuff. So let's follow the money. The Care Over Cost campaign has been active across the country. This is a countrywide organization. As Common Dreams reported, UnitedHealth was named in a letter from 52 members of the Democratic caucus in Congress. The letter criticized healthcare companies, including UnitedHealth, for using artificial intelligence to determine coverage decisions for patients with Medicare Advantage plans. This practice has been flagged for potentially denying necessary care based on algorithmic assessments rather than medical evaluations. Again, computers are making your health choices, not the doctors who are in your care. In April, People's Action sent a letter to UnitedHealth noting that its CEO, this would be Brian Thompson specifically. In April, People's Action sent a letter to UnitedHealth noting that its CEO was paid nearly $10 million in 2022, while the CEO of its parent company, that's Andrew Whitty, over $90 million in executive pay and board pay over 4 years. The letter also highlighted UnitedHealthcare's $22.4 billion in profits in 2023 and its $14.8 billion sent to shareholders through its stock buybacks and dividends.
Mr. Cabretti was saying they use tax dollars to invest in the stock market.
Yeah. People should be following the money, and you should be paying attention. I have to keep very, 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 very careful on how I say things here. So let's just keep going. The group called on UnitedHealthcare specifically too. 1. Stop denying claims and overturn existing denials for treatments recommended by medical professionals. Immediately cease using artificial intelligence algorithms to initiate bulk claim denials, and conduct a publicly shared audit and reimbursement federal and state governments for public money diverted by claim and prior authorization denials within Medicaid. These guys made billions and billions of dollars, and we don't understand why healthcare costs so much in America. These things should fundamentally bring up questions. But again, I have to be careful. I can't interpret it for you. So just ask yourself, does it make sense that healthcare is so expensive for everyone in America when they're making billions every single quarter? Billions in profit every single quarter. And what was it? $22.4 billion in profits in 2023. And by the way, when we do get to the hack, the big, huge hack that cost, I want to make sure I get this out ahead of time in case I accidentally forget it. When we get to the big, huge computer hack that cost UnitedHealthcare nearly $1 billion, make no mistake about this, and I'll probably hopefully hit it again. They didn't lose. They will keep telling you they lost $1 billion. What they lost $1 billion is they lost $1 billion in their realized profits. They still made an obscene 7.9 or plus billion dollars in profits, but they could have made $8 billion of profits if they hadn't lost potential $1 billion in profits. But they will tell you in the public, we lost $1 billion over that hack. No, you lost $1 billion of your $8 billion expected return in profits. You didn't lose anything. You just didn't get as good of profits as you would have got. So follow the money. All right. We will never stop fighting for a world where everyone gets the care that they need, no matter their race, gender, or background, says People Action. When greedy corporations deny our care, we organize. So there's a group organized going after and targeting Change Health. I want you to focus on this. This group has repeatedly said, we have tried to appeal to them. We've tried to have meetings with them. We've tried to appeal to Congress, and nothing we do, even protesting their headquarters outside UnitedHealthcare, changes anything. They never listen. I'm going to leave that at that. All right, going on. Now, in 2023, the Department of Justice surprisingly voluntarily dismisses its appeal of the purchase of Change Health. This was a shocker. The Department of Justice dropped it. They were appealing the purchase of Change Health. The Change Health was allowed to go through. It already was done. And the Department of Justice, for whatever reasons, decided to drop its appeal and just stop pursuing the issue. November 2023. A class action lawsuit is filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Minnesota by the estates of Gene Loken and Dale Tetzloff, among with other Medicare Advantage members. The plaintiffs allege that UnitedHealth Group, UHG, which is the parent company of UnitedHealthcare, also UnitedHealthcare, and its subsidiary Navi Health, used an AI tool called NH Predict to deny medically necessary post-acute care, such as skilled nursing and home health care. The lawsuit claims that NH Predict overrode physicians' recommendations, leading to premature discharges and financial burdens on patients. What I want you to take away from that is this is a time of unprecedented number of lawsuits that are increasingly being filed specifically against UnitedHealthcare for their AI model and denial of claims, and people are lining up to sue them left and right. They are under enormous pressure. 2024. The Hollywood Firefighter Pension Group files a lawsuit alleging insider trading by UnitedHealthcare execs. Actually, it's UnitedHealth execs. It includes UnitedHealthcare and UnitedHealth Group. This is huge. Listen carefully. The Hollywood Firefighter Pension Group files a lawsuit in 2024, the shootings at the end of 2024, alleging insider trading by UnitedHealth execs. Mainstream media. I'm going to show these things in mainstream media. October 17th, a Senate report is released. So the United States Senate starts getting involved in the practices of UnitedHealthcare and the increasing number of lawsuits, the allegations of insider trading. I'm going to make sure that we have all of that details about it because I want you to see the numbers, and I don't see it. Give me one moment. I really want you to see the numbers of the Hollywood pension. So apparently I didn't put my note on it, so let me just do this right now. Oh, actually I do. Here it is. Okay, so I'm gonna jump to my PDF right here. This is the lawsuit by the City of Hollywood firefighters. How's it look on TikTok? I'm gonna center this just a hair more. Unfortunately for TikTok, I would have to shrink it a bit, so you're just gonna have to see it on YouTube if you wanna see the full left to right, because you're gonna only get parts of it. This is the actual lawsuit filed May 14th, 2024 by the City of Hollywood Firefighters Pension Fund against UnitedHealth Group, Andrew Whitty specifically, Stephen Hemsley, and Brian Thompson. So they're going after these guys specifically. The plaintiff, the City of Hollywood Firefighter Pension Fund, is the plaintiff, and this securities fraud class action lawsuit is brought on behalf of all persons and entities who purchased shares in UnitedHealth's common stock between March 14th, 2022 and February 27th, 2024 inclusively. I accidentally scrolled past that by accident. The claims asserted herein are alleged against UnitedHealth and certain of the company's senior executives, collectively known as the defendants, and arise under, and it goes to the sections of the law that it arises under. On January 6, 2021, UnitedHealth announced an agreement to acquire Change Health Care, also known as Change, and integrate into its existing Optum business. So again, follow the money, pay attention to Change Health and what's at stake here by the Hollywood Firefighters Pension Fund. In response to the January 6th announcement, on February 24th, 2022, the U.S. Department of Justice filed a lawsuit challenging UnitedHealth's acquisition of Change. We know this, we covered this. The DOJ alleged that the proposed acquisition,
Was this Hollywood, California, or Florida?
Good question. Yeah. The DOJ alleged that the proposed acquisition would violate antitrust laws because the integration of Change and Optum would give UnitedHealthcare unparalleled access to the information regarding nearly every health insurer, as well as health data on every single American. So I just want you to point out the lawsuit by the pension plan is against UnitedHealth specifically and their acquisition and purchase of Change Health. Why? Because they lied and they hid their investigation by the Department of Justice, costing the pension plan to lose a massive amount of money. So, in September 2022, the Department of Justice tried its antitrust lawsuit against UnitedHealth in the United States District Court of the District of Columbia. The court in the antitrust action ultimately permitted the acquisition. In other words, we already know, DOJ said that's illegal, it's an antitrust, but it was allowed to go through and they continued to purchase Change Health. All right? The truth emerged on February 27, 2024, when the Wall Street Journal, mainstream media, I'm quoting things from mainstream media. The truth emerged on February 27, 2024, when the Wall Street Journal reported that the Department of Justice had reopened its antitrust investigation into UnitedHealth. In that article, the public learned for the first time that the Department of Justice was investigating the relationship between the company's various segments, including Optum. As a result of this disclosure, the price of UnitedHealth stock declined by $27 per share, erasing nearly $25 billion in shareholder value. So stop for a moment and let me explain what's happening. What they're saying is it was already known by UnitedHealthcare they were under investigation by the Department of Justice. They didn't tell anyone about that. When they found out for the first time that they were under investigation by the Department of Justice because it was announced publicly that they were reopening the investigation, they didn't even know was happening. All of a sudden they're like, what do you mean investigation? And stock prices plummeted and people lost their asses. Shareholders lost their money, pension plans lost their money. And follow the money. Here's where it goes next. UnitedHealth was aware of the Department of Justice investigation since at least October of 2023. Instead of disclosing this material investigation to investors or the public, UnitedHealth insiders sold more than $120 million of their personally held UnitedHealth shares before the stock plummeted. So they knew it was coming. They knew the public was going to find out about their being under investigation. So their shareholders, Andrew Whitty, Brian Thompson, sold $120 million of their personal shares while the stock market, or the stock prices were artificially inflated high because it was about to take a giant crap. In the 4 months between learning about the Department of Justice investigation and the investigation becoming public, UnitedHealth chairman Stephen Hemsley sold $102 million of his personally held United shares. Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, sold $15 million of his personally held UnitedHealth shares. Okay, so they're cashing out before it goes public that they're under investigation because they know the stock market's going to crash.
What a dirtbag.
Right? Follow the money is what I would say. All right, so let's continue on. The defendant, UnitedHealth. Defendants specifically listed: Andrew Whitty is and was at all relevant times Chief Executive Officer of UnitedHealth. That's UnitedHealth Group, by the way. Stephen Hemsley is and was at all relevant times the chairman of the company's board of directors. And Brian Thompson, now known only as Thompson in this, is and was at all relevant times Chief Executive Officer of UnitedHealth's insurance segment, UnitedHealthcare. Defendants Whitty, Hemsley, and Thompson are collectively referred to hereafter as individual defendants. Let me scroll down to some pertinent pieces we want to grab from this lawsuit. As a result of the defendants, we know who they are, wrongful acts and omissions, and the precipitous decline in the market value of the company's securities, the plaintiff and other class members have suffered significant losses and damage. In other words, they will maintain, we wouldn't have bought UnitedHealth stock had we known that it was about to take a giant crap. You knew your stock was going to take a crap, and you guys all cashed out before it did so. We lost money. You didn't lose money. During the class action period, defendants carried out a plan, scheme, and a course of conduct which was intended to, and throughout the class period did, deceive the investing public, including the plaintiff and other class members as alleged herein, and cause the plaintiff and other members of the class to purchase UnitedHealth common stock at an artificially inflated prices. So in other words, because you were hiding from us that you were under investigation, we bought your inflated stock that you knew was about to take a crap, while you and your personal executives cashed out and made millions. Defendants, and again, let me be clear for TikTok's sake. I'm not saying that this is okay what happened to Brian Thompson. I'm asking you to follow the money and you come to your own conclusions about why somebody has a beef against Brian Thompson. And whether that person, it makes sense to you at the end of the day to be Luigi Mangione or someone else. So pay attention, follow the money. Defendants employed devices, schemes, and artifices to defraud, made untrue statements of matter of fact, and omitted to state material facts necessary to make statements not misleading, and engage in acts, practices, and a course of business which operated as a fraud and deceit upon the purchasers of companies' common stock in an effort to maintain artificially high market prices for UnitedHealth common stock. Just another way of repeatedly saying they lied to people about they hid from people that were under investigation to keep the stock artificially high. Defendants individually and in concert directly, so now this is again Andrew Whitty, Brian Thompson, Hemsley, the defendants individually and in concert, directly and indirectly by the use, means, and instrumentalities of interstate commerce and of the males engaged and participated in continuous course of conduct to conceal otherwise adverse material information about the company's financial well-being, operations, and prospects. Yeah, you had something?
Mr. Cabretti says he's going to bail.
All right.
He's going to have to follow the money.
He's going to go follow the money, Mr. Cabretti. I realize this is super long. I'm already at an hour, and I still got stuff to cover.
Still got too hot for TikTok.
And I still got too hot for TikTok, where I'm going to allow you to ask me what my connections are, which I can't say here, right? During the class period, defendants made the false statements specified above, which they knew recklessly disregarded to be false and misleading, in that they contained misrepresentations and failed to disclose material facts necessary. This is basically saying the same thing over and over again. UnitedHealth hid the fact that they were under investigation, cashed out for their CEOs huge amounts of sums of money before the stock market crashed on their stock, and everybody else was left holding the bag. Yeah, Mr. Cabretti, thanks for coming in, and I hope you get a time to come on with me sometime soon. All right. So on October 17th, and I realize this is super long as I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, this document that I want to show you next is kind of long. I'm like, oh, do we have to do this in multiple parts? What do you guys think? Should we do this in multiple parts? I got a big document to read coming up next. Do I need to break this up? I think I probably have, gosh, I may have another 40 minutes in me on this, so I don't know. Should we back out? Do I need to do this in multiple parts? What do you guys? I'm not getting any hit the highlights. I'm not great at the highlights because I feel like the details are the devil, as they say, is in the details. I'll make an attempt. Okay, so troubling data. On October 17th, the United States Senate releases a report after their investigation into UnitedHealthcare over what they found was troubling data. So I'm going to pull that up on the screen, the troubling data. Senate report reveals troubling data. Are you waving somebody? Okay.
No, it's centered on TikTok.
Oh. Yeah, that helps a little bit maybe with the TikTokers. Findings revealed in a recent Senate report examining prior authorization and denial of care practices by the three largest Medicare Advantage insurers, which is UnitedHealthcare, is one of them. Evidence in the report shows that the PAC denials are driven by plans' pursuit of financial gain, not the lack of medical necessity. In other words, they are only doing the denials of claim because it makes them profits. It makes them money. They are not doing it because they're trying to protect consumers. They're looking out for your best interest. Copretti leaves me with this: $3.4 billion from the government for Medicare in 2024. Yes, we haven't even gotten to the great stuff, which is your favorite topic, the name of Congress people that we have to be careful about. But that's coming up later. On October 17, the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. I'm trying to summarize for you guys now. UnitedHealthcare, Humana, and Aetna combined, they cover 60% of all Medicare Advantage plan enrollees. So 60% of the market's covered by UnitedHealthcare, Humana, and CVS Aetna. From the more than 280,000 pages of this Senate report reviewed thus far, the PSI report arrived at some of the dramatic findings. Here are some of the dramatic findings. PAC denials increased dramatically across the top three Medicare Advantage organizations, which includes UnitedHealthcare, between 2019 and 2022. Dramatic increase between 2019 and 22 when they start employing AI-driven automatic denials and making a crap ton of money. That's when everyone's CEO prices were going up. That's when everybody's stock prices were going up. That's when they were becoming more and more profitable, and shareholders were like, yeah, we are making so much money investing in United. It was an amazing time for everybody. In 2022, UnitedHealthcare and CVS denied post-acute care prior authorization requests at a rate 3 times higher than their overall rates of denial. So in other words, they were higher than anybody else. Humana denied post-acute care service request at a rate of 16 times higher than its overall rate of denial, denying 26.6% of all requests, of PAC requests. I'm trying to get to the highlights to summarize for you. From 2019 to 22, UHC shifted their care approvals away from SNF to other PAC providers, to HHAs, to generate savings. Basically, running it through the Universal Translator, they're shifting money to make more profit, more profit, more profit. It never has. And what the U.S. government is saying is, at no part is this in the best interest of consumers. At every part of what you're doing is to make you more money. Artificial intelligence and predictive technologies were deployed primarily for the purpose of reducing plan costs, even when plans knew that the algorithms were making errors and increased denial rates. So this is what the government was discovering. This isn't even just, this isn't just the Department of Justice. This is the Senate investigation saying that, hey, UnitedHealthcare is using AI to make profit and deny more and more people's health care. I'm kind of skim through for you, so some highlights. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff on here. Again, my website's got a lot of this stuff and links. The report concludes that data obtained so far is troubling regardless of whether the decision reflected in the data was the result of predictive technology or human discretion. It suggests that Medicare Advantage insurers are intentionally targeting a costly but critical area of medicine, substituting judgment about medical necessity with a calculation based on about financial gain. So again, Congress knows it's happening. The Department of Justice knows it's happening. I would argue mainstream media and the entire woke public, if you will, knows that this is what's happening. And then they will try to put off on you that this was just some kind of random guy with a beef on against a CEO, and somehow it doesn't make sense. It's all about money. All right. I said I would get into, I'm going to try to wrap this up regardless of where I'm at in about a half hour for the TikTok portion, and then I'll do a 1/2 hour left on YouTube for questions and answers if you want my opinions on some of these things. So, Change Healthcare on February 12th, 2024, breached the servers of UnitedHealth. So basically hackers got into Change Health servers, which has been purchased now by UnitedHealthcare. This was discovered later on the 21st of February. Now there's some, I don't know what it, maybe I need to save that for the too hot for TikTok part. So February 21st, the data breach is discovered when they received a ransomware demanding payment. This incident was attributed to the Alpha V Black Cat ransomware group led to the compromise of protected healthcare information for 190 million individuals, making it the largest healthcare data breach in U.S. history. In response, Change Healthcare and its parent company, UnitedHealth Group, took immediate action, disconnecting affected systems, initiating comprehensive investigation, and notifying law enforcement. For individuals concerned about the impacts, Change Healthcare is offering a 2-year of free credit monitoring and identity protection services. Do you trust UnitedHealthcare to give you free credit monitoring to watch your money, to see how much money you have for them to give them for healthcare costs? Well, hey, we'd be happy to monitor your credit, see how much money you can really give us. I don't know that you want that to happen, but that's aside. So UnitedHealth Group paid, by the way, UnitedHealth under Andrew Whitty, the UnitedHealth Group parent company, paid $22 million in ransom to the hackers that hacked Change Health service. And unfortunately for him, the hackers didn't go away. After he paid them $22 million, they wanted more money. So along that line, one has to say, let's ask about follow the money. So people have a growing beef with UnitedHealthcare. They've tried protests. They've tried congressional action. They've tried lawsuits. And maybe now they're trying to hack their systems and make a financial impact. And none of that is working. So one might ask, did somebody involved in this whole chain take it to another level? Because the legislation didn't do anything, protests didn't do anything, hacking their systems didn't do anything, even when they lost, quote unquote, $1 billion in profits. Not $1 billion they lost $1 billion in profits. Now, I want you to say, I'm not going to say on TikTok, certain Congress people, a certain Congress person who seem to have, as they say in mainstream media, incredible financial acumen. How did she know when to purchase stock in Palo Alto, which was hired to clean up the data breach and help secure UnitedHealthcare's systems after the hacking of their system? There was a particular congressperson and their husband who both made questionable call options buying stock in Palo Alto before it was known to the public that Palo Alto was going to get awarded the contract to help clean it up and therefore increase their stock price. Who those people are and what the details of that are going to be left for the too hot for TikTok part. I feel like I can't name names. Probably some of you do know. Probably you do know. Thank goodness for you. You've already been following the money. And how they did it is also interesting. Not everybody knows who they knew to get the inside information, but that's a whole other thing. I have a whole article on the hack. I don't know if I can just summarize real quick. Again, I'm watching the time. I'm going to wrap this up at the bottom of the hour. UnitedHealth adopts aggressive approach to recover after ransomware attacks. Yeah, was that for me?
Yes, you're supposed to center TikTok.
Oh, center TikTok.
That's what that hand gesture means.
Okay,
now you know.
I'm getting that. I'm trying to look for some highlights in this so I can speed this up for you. The main thing I guess I want to point out is all of these are sources that you can find online. The HIPAA journal talking about UnitedHealthcare approach to recover from the ransomware, the $22 million in ransom money they paid, and how that didn't really fix it. By the way, to this day, millions and millions of Americans' personal data is still in the hands of the hackers. They have not recovered that. They don't want you to realize they didn't clean it up. It's not covered. Our personal data, Americans' personal data, is still in the hands of the hackers. It's still out there. They just want you to say, hey, we tightened it up so this can't happen again. But our data has already been compromised and it's already out there for about like half of America. And it's still out there. By the way, my wife behind me worked at a pharmacy during this whole thing. It caused massive problems at the pharmacy. The whole healthcare Change Health thing had repercussions down the line. And one thing that I'm going to have a hard time explaining was the insidious way in which I joked, and you didn't catch it at the time. The insidious way that UnitedHealth came in like the savior. Hey, because what was happening is when hospitals and doctors couldn't bill and get their prescriptions and everything through the system because everything was grinding to a halt because of the data breach, doctors and hospitals were starting to go under. They were starting to get backlogged, and they couldn't keep floating their daily expenses without money coming in. And the money was grinding to a halt because they couldn't process claims. And so United Healthcare jumped in as their savior to say, hey, we'll loan you money. We'll loan you money to keep you afloat. And then they use those things essentially to buy out hospitals and doctors and now own the hospital and own the doctor. It's insidious what they've done. And it's just, those loans were used to entrap hospitals and doctors. It was and there's documents about this as well, but we're not going to have time to go into it tonight. So there's just some information there. I guess we'll talk about the 190 million records that were breached, the $78.8 million data breach that was before of Anthem Health in 2015. This was now the largest. It's been the largest hack of an insurance company ever. So there's all that documentation on that. Let's see. I'm trying to pass through this for you a bit. So in July 15th, that group is protesting again outside of the headquarters of United Healthcare as they post their quarterly profits for 2024, which were $7.9 billion in quarterly profits in 2024. Keep in mind, this is after the data breach that they will tell you, they will repeat over and over again that United Healthcare lost $1 billion, $825 million, nearly $1 billion they lost in that ransomware attack, maybe more. They started to put the number up there at $1 billion too, that they lost, while telling you, hey, by the way, we just made record profits of $7.9 billion. How do those two things coincide? Again, because what they're not telling you is what they lost wasn't $1 billion in the whole. It was $1 billion more in profit they could have made. So instead of making $8 billion in profit that year, they could have, or that quarter, they could have made $9 billion. So, boo-hoo, poor you. You only made $8 billion this quarter instead of $9 billion. You really took it in the shorts with that loss of $1 billion from the hack. And one has to ask, what group of computer hackers got into Change Health and was trying to make a difference from within inside the company?
I know.
So let's move to the last couple things. I think I'm done with the wrap-up mostly. So I'm going to give an opportunity for you to kind of give some of your thoughts carefully on TikTok before I shut down and I guess answer more candidly some direct questions. Again, I had to start speeding through it. One, because I think I'm probably boring the hell out of most of you. Two, because following the money is extremely hard and it's detailed and it takes frickin' a degree, I think, to understand exactly what happens. But also because I can't get into too much more of the details. Does anybody have questions on TikTok before I shut it down and stay running on YouTube for the quote-unquote too hot for TikTok portion? Thank you, Maifa, for saying that you stayed with it. I'm sure that was a bit of a snooze fest, right? That was probably a bit of a snooze fest.
We can tell you. We just have to go to YouTube to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you my thoughts, but I have to be careful. The cyber. So when I tell you this, United is the one who told us who it was that hacked them. Everyone's repeating what United told them who hacked them. We don't know for a fact that that's who hacked them. What I will say is that one could argue, do I want to do this here?
Probably not.
Yeah, let's save that for too hot for TikTok. There's no way for me to say that, and it's speculation.
Let's keep our TikTok account.
If you were paying attention, earlier, I was talking about someone's formal education and the degrees that they received, and
we gotta go out of here.
And the circles that they run in. Yeah, I don't want to get banned. Let's not. So I've been fortunate. Is there any other questions I can answer? I'll just tell you if I can't answer before I bail out. And again, I'm still streaming on YouTube, and I will be more blunt there if you ask questions over there.
Let's just go to YouTube.
Oh, there's a gift. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much. By the way, about gifts, I do want to say one thing. I know this is going to sound self-serving, but keep in mind this. When you give gifts to creators like myself, it tells TikTok you want to know more about that kind of content. You're interested in that kind of content. If the only people you give your gifts to are people who sing and dance or do something like that, then TikTok gets told the message, hey, that's great and dandy that Devil's Advocates wants to come on here and talk about serious issues, but that's not where the money's at. The money's at singing and dancing and kittens. So if you want TikTok to be encouraged to allow people like myself to talk, maybe a gift or two is good for both of us. But anyways. Anything else? Any other questions on TikTok before I close down TikTok and we go to the backyard? Thank you for going to YouTube.
Does it also put you on the radar? What do you mean, peppermint?
You mean giving gifts? Does it also put you on the radar to give gifts? I don't know. I don't know. Thank you for the people who have provided gifts, taken that risk. I'm taking a risk every time I open my mouth on this app. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. All
right, let's go to YouTube.
Oh, put my YouTube link. Well,
I did. I've been.
Into TikTok?
Yep.
Okay.
There it is again. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong
It's
place.
not going. Yeah,
that was sorry, that was YouTube.
Let me make sure that my wife actually is posting a link of some kind.
It's not a link.
It's not showing. See, they're blocking it from being shown.
It's been showing.
It's showing to you, but you're like shadow banned, so they're not letting you. They're making you think that you're telling everybody, and you're not. So do you see that? Do you see that? Because I might be shadow banned too, and they might be letting me. So you should see that the channel name is Devil's Advocates 2024.
Yep, I see it.
At Devil's Advocates 2024. Also, you can go to my profile in TikTok, and you can click on the profile, and there's a link to it as well.
So we are heading to YouTube for those just joining us.
Good night, everybody on TikTok. Thank you for not letting me get kicked out tonight. Hopefully we can close down. The sooner I close, the better I am at getting out of here without getting shut down.
All right, see you in a minute on TikTok. YouTube.
All right. So are we still live on TikTok? Or YouTube, I mean?
Yep.
Everything now to me makes much more sense. That's good. That's excellent.
So to me, it sounds like it was an inside job. Is that what you guys are thinking? So let's talk about some of the theories. One, the hint that I was trying to make was, for those who believe that Luigi Mangione may have been involved in some way, there is times in his academic history and when he went dark that might coincide with the second date, for example, of the protest against UnitedHealth. Can I prove Luigi Mangione was there? No. Can I prove that anybody he associates with was protesting outside UnitedHealth? No. Also, Luigi Mangione is, like I said, a double degree, a bachelor's and a master's in computer and science engineering, and formed a game club at the University of Pennsylvania called Upgrade. He knew a lot of smart, techie, hacker kind of guys. Now, I will say, by the way, that I'm a tech guy. I've been in tech business for 10 years, and I can't hack UnitedHealthcare's system. So it's not just because you know a lot about computers that you can hack a system. But one could ask themselves, because I have maintained for a long time now that if Luigi Mangione is involved in this case, he may be involved with a group of conspirators. That group of conspirators may have tried multiple things, including the hack of Change Healthcare to take down the system of UnitedHealth, and it didn't stop anything. They still posted record profits. So perhaps that group, one could just ask the question, could Luigi Mangione have been involved in a group of computer hackers who had a beef against the healthcare industry, particularly UnitedHealthcare, and they attempted to bring the system down financially through the hack of inside of Change Health, and it didn't work. It didn't stop anything. They still made record profits. And so maybe one could argue somebody took it to level 2 or to the level 3 or level 5, whatever you want to call it. It's like, okay, look, we've tried protests. We've tried protesting outside your buildings. We've tried legislation. That's not working. We tried to hack your system and to destroy you financially from within. That doesn't work. So we're going next level. And again, that doesn't mean
Luigi Mangione did it. It doesn't mean Luigi Mangione's involved. What I'm asking you to do when you're following the money is to keep in mind what Luigi Mangione's degrees are in, and then start, when you do your own research, start asking yourself, does Luigi know people who are involved in the computer industry that has a beef with UnitedHealthcare? There's all kinds of names of people that might start coming to the surface if you start looking in different directions. The hacker group was supposedly a Russian group. That's what UnitedHealthcare told us. Now, you would think the United States government got involved in some way and hopefully verified that, but it was UnitedHealthcare that told us it was a Russian group that hacked them.
But how much would it behoove them if they'd done it themselves?
Right. There's a Let me also say the other thing you can't overlook. Let's say, for example, this scenario, and it's the one that's not super popular. I have maintained also the possibility for a very long time, this could be a professional hit. Think of the money that's involved. When you follow the money, you're talking about UnitedHealthcare saying that the actions of that healthcare hack cost them at a minimum $825 million and probably more like $1.2 or $1.6 billion. It cost them that much in potential profits. They could have earned more if that didn't happen. Also, during the leadership of Brian Thompson, while he's in charge, he is implementing the AI model that denies claims at unprecedented levels. And while they're making money hand over fist, they're also getting sued hand over fist by the Department of Justice. They're getting investigated by Congress. They're getting sued by every Tom, Dick, and Harry on the street that finds out that their claims were denied by AI models, and they're coming under massive scrutiny. So now they're fighting lawsuits left and right. One could argue Brian Thompson is a massive liability. Now here's the crazy shit. I should have had this for you to pull up. Did you know that it was recently verified and released? I'm going to maybe have to do a little ChatGPT search to find it for you. Did you know that it was released that in the funding reveal of what UnitedHealthcare spent in their company last year, they spent $0 on Brian Thompson's personal security, while simultaneously spending money to give private security to other executives in the company? One could argue UnitedHealthcare was viewing Brian Thompson as a liability. While he was making the money, he also cost them a shit ton of money. They were under investigation by the Department of Justice, by the U.S. Senate, and every, like I said, the pension plan of Hollywood, which is Florida apparently, right? They were losing their ass in lawsuits because of the practices that Brian Thompson was doing, and he was under the helm when Change Health got hacked and cost them a bunch of money, because now all of a sudden people are targeting them as being super predatory. So one might ask the question, did UnitedHealth pull the security for Brian Thompson? And if they did, does that not suggest that UnitedHealth wanted Brian Thompson taken out? They pulled his security. I've even covered on a previous video, I've covered on a previous live, that one of the former bodyguards of Brian Thompson was stunned to find out that Brian Thompson had no security detail that morning. He said that he even referred to it as the biggest lapse in personal security I've ever seen. How did Brian Thompson not have security? Why? Because UnitedHealth Group pulled his security detail.
Yes, openings, that's correct.
So you have to ask, when you're following the money, did UnitedHealth Group want Brian Thompson taken out? And then you have to ask, by extension, was that a professional hit? And then you have to ask, if it was a professional hit, was somebody set up to take the fall? Do we want to believe that Luigi Mangione is a professional hitman? That he dropped out of society for 6 months and got trained by UnitedHealthcare execs or UnitedHealth Group execs to become a professional hitman to make them money? To protect their money?
He even looked like the guy that was the shooter, though.
Right. So one has to ask, was this a professional hit? Was Luigi involved? Was Luigi unknowingly involved? Did Luigi get led to believe that it was a noble cause when really it was the health insurance industry itself taking out their own man because he was costing them a crap ton of money? And by the way, he could have still been potentially going before the Department of Justice to testify about things. What if Brian Thompson was going to cut a deal to talk about what they did and the money that they made. So somebody could have wanted him silenced. And where I'm going with all of that is when you follow the money, there is 1 million people, maybe 190 million people who potentially have motive. And I use that number because that's the number of people who are affected by the Change Health breach. I mean, all their data is out there to the public. Half of America is covered by UnitedHealthcare. Half of America gets their claims denied because of UnitedHealthcare. So half of America has a beef against UnitedHealthcare, potentially. So can we say with certainty that Luigi Mangione is the only guy who has a reasonable reason to go after UnitedHealthcare's CEO? So I'm looking at some questions. Maybe UnitedHealthcare had a little help from another group of people who wanted to make a statement. Right. So what if UnitedHealthcare knows that there's a group that's angry, livid against UnitedHealthcare?
A lot of groups.
And Brian Thompson's causing them a lot of money. How hard would it be for them to secretly, behind closed doors and under the table, fund an operation from somebody who hates UnitedHealthcare? As long as you can guarantee that they're not going to shoot you and they're going to shoot the right person, and if you're funding it, you probably can direct that a little bit. Maybe that sounds crazy to you.
It looked like a hit. There was the SUV. The guy was purposely looking at one specific person, and I think he was pro. Yeah, I mean, to the She-Devil's credit, there's indication that the shooter was on the phone with somebody, working with somebody to know when Brian Thompson was coming out. There was an SUV that may have suspiciously hit their brake lights, indicating exactly who the person is that was the target, and a professional shooter may have come out and carried that out. And there's indications, in my opinion, and I've been saying this from the beginning, that it looks like there was a group of individuals wearing similar clothes going all over the city, misleading law enforcement in different directions so that the shooter could get away. So the actual shooter may not be the same person we have in custody. I've said that for a long time. What if, and even if Luigi Mangione was involved, what if he was just one of the people that purposely agreed to be a decoy? The real shooter may be in the wind. And the real shooter may not be Luigi. Now, the problem you have with that is the government has a desire to make sure Luigi Mangione goes down and somebody pays for this. So whether or not he's the guy or not, they're going to damn well try to make sure he goes down for it. Do you trust our legal system that if he isn't the guy, that they won't fabricate or make up information or plant information to make sure that somebody goes down for this? And then you have to ask yourself, is there ever a scenario, here's conspiracy theory for you, is there ever a scenario in your mind in which the government themselves may have wanted Brian Thompson taken out? And if so, would they be willing to frame somebody for it so that their shooter goes free? There's a million scenarios when you follow the money. Yes, Brian Thompson's wife indicated that he was receiving death threats, which again makes no sense. Why UnitedHealth Group would pull the personal security detail against Brian Thompson when he's receiving death threats. Any other questions? It's been a long night, people. It's been a really long night. Really deep subject. This is one of the deepest ones. Sarah posted that earlier.
Is it a fact that 3 out of 4 charges in latest indictment could be dropped if stalking can't be proven? Sure, if stalking can't be proven, but I don't know if you have any indication that the stalking charges have any chance of being dropped. Because again, the allegations for the stalking charges are that he was basically surveilling and picking Brian Thompson as a target for a period of time. He used interstate highways to travel from one state to another to come across and quote unquote stalk his victim. All of these things appear to be something that they have nailed down. So if Luigi Mangione or anyone came across state lines on a public bus into New York City to commit the murder, they've got some form of stalking and using interstate lines to do so, which is what allows them to go after, in part, half the things they're doing. The commission of murder with a gun is where they're really getting the death penalty from. UHC cost government millions, and they tried to make laws to stop UHC, and worked around the laws. Right. So one could argue that the United States government themselves is pissed off at UnitedHealth here. They can't stop them. They can't stop this company. Every single time. Again, read American Sickness. I encourage you to read that book, to follow along with my my book review if you want to listen to me rant like I did tonight on just how shitty the healthcare system is, and how every single time the government tries to stop the health insurance companies, they can't. They can't do a thing about it. They're out of control. The money's too big. politicians are bought off. Anything else? I'm glad that you like the After Dark live chat area. I wasn't sure how people felt about it. We do have a record high 68 concurrent viewers on YouTube. I haven't had that kind of following on YouTube since the beginning, so hopefully that's great. Yeah, the TikTok thing. Here's the thing for those who are hanging out. I have 20 times the size of the audience on TikTok. It's still super small, but I have 20 times the audience on TikTok. And so what I've been trying to do is drive people to YouTube to hear the things I can't talk about on TikTok. Otherwise, I'd give up on TikTok entirely if it wasn't for the fact that 20 times my followers and my base is over on TikTok. So I feel like I have to do something there. Thank you, Ruby, for suggesting that these are great lives. I hope that you learned some stuff. Again, don't forget, let me put it into the chat. Don't forget this website, devilsadvocates.info. Don't forget that as I put it up on the screen again, all those green paragraphs, this is a huge timeline of dates. I'm still missing things. By the way, if you're a person who loves internet sleuthing and you see something I'm missing and you like to help with projects, reach out to me. I'll give you some some adding privileges. I'll make you a user on the account, and you can help me add to this thing, and I can approve your additions. So if you like that kind of stuff and you want to help me build this, welcome aboard. Come help me, and I'll fact check you before I make it go live. We can work that out together. So again, devilsadvocates.info. All the green stuff is what I consider pertinent to follow the money. Who would have roped Luigi Mangione into this situation? Here's the thing. It's pure speculation. But again, there's an argument to be made that Luigi Mangione literally is a guy who's out for the little people, and he believes that corporate greed is out of control. There's a according to one of the documentaries on Luigi Mangione, I'll try to make this brief because I know I'm wrapping up. Where Luigi talked about his classmates and how they were all asked to basically draw a picture of their ideal home, and everybody drew mansions, and Luigi Mangione drew a real simple shack, and nobody understood. They thought he was weird because of it, and he likewise thought they were weird because everyone else was materialistic. Luigi Mangione is not materialistic. There's an argument to be made that Luigi Mangione is disgusted by corporate greed, despite the fact that he comes from a family where he literally has a silver, not literally, I don't like the word literally, where he proverbially has the silver spoon in his mouth. He comes from a rich family, but he didn't apparently like the money. He liked to live simple. He liked to live at what he could survive on out of a backpack and go camping. He liked simple things in life, and there's an argument to be made. He despised corporate greed. And so there's an argument to be made that Luigi Mangione could have easily gotten roped into by say, if you don't like corporate greed, have you seen what UnitedHealth is doing? And easily they could say, he could be like, holy crap, man. Somebody needs to stop these people. Now, again, that doesn't mean I'm saying Luigi Mangione was the trigger man. It just could have been a way that Luigi Mangione could have been recruited to say, yeah, I want in. I want to help somehow. How can I help? I'll be a decoy. Maybe I don't have it in me to do what needs to be done. Maybe somebody does need to take out the CEO of UnitedHealth, because under his leadership, all this stuff. Maybe somebody needs to do this, and maybe I don't have it in me. So if you be my Mario, I'll be your Luigi, right? If you be player one and you do what needs to be done, I'll be Luigi and I'll help take the fall for it. This is the subject of a movie I've talked about before, How to Blow Up a Pipeline, where a group of individuals got together and one person agreed to take the fall, so that the rest of them could get away and continue to do it or start a movement. Let's see, Lee, have you ever looked into Luigi Mangione's family's nursing facilities? I have, yes, not to great extent, but yes, I have looked into that. If you think that you've got a lead there, well, let me tell you, okay, I said I was gonna avoid this. So I believe in Luigi Mangione's presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. So let me state that for the bat. But there is better than I thought evidence to suggest that Nancy Pelosi and Paul Pelosi and the Mangione family go back, and it's more than just they knew each other for business partners, that their families are connected. Now, what does that mean? It only means if Luigi Mangione was involved in some way, the Mangiones and the Pelosi's have a connection. The Pelosi's found out about the hack ahead of time, right? The one can argue they invested in Palo Alto because they knew Palo Alto was going to get the contract and was going to make money off of repairing UnitedHealthcare's breach. So, who did the Pelosi's know on the inside? And I feel super nauseous saying that because I believe in Luigi Mangione's innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. And I also believe that one has to understand why somebody might do something like this. And again, if you watch the Law, I'm going to wrap up, I really am. If you watch the Law and Order episode about the fictional Luigi Mangione, the episode was called Folk Hero. The defense is that the shooter, Ethan Weller was the name in the fictional case, did it in defense of others. It was considered an act of self-defense, but it's a subset of the act of self-defense. The argument was that it wasn't just self-defense, but he was trying to save lives of others. That every single minute the predatory healthcare system continues to deny claims, people are dying. Every single minute people are dying because of the predatory practices and profits. So Luigi Mangione, if he was involved, may have wanted to do it as a defense of others. I am going to save lives. I kill one person and I can change the system and save millions. And who, in my opinion, can't at least acknowledge for a moment that there's a logic in that? Is it insane to think that if you could trade one life to save millions, would that be a trade that some of you would think about? You don't have to answer, but would that be a trade with some of you would think about? With that, I want to leave you tonight with good wishes, good luck. Please subscribe, follow this channel. This is where I do all my mainstream content. It's where I do my long form analysis. I do videos all the time. I'm making it a full-time job. Believe me, I am always on the computer making another video. I'm reviewing the book, An American Sickness by Elizabeth Rosenthal. Every single time I think that it's kind of boring and depressing, I get people from all over the world saying, oh my God, please continue. This is an amazing series. So you might want to check that out. Again, follow the money. And have a good night.
Good night. Thanks for subscribing. And click that notification button. There's Birdie.
Birdie just jumped in?
No, he's on
TikTok.
TikTok.
Gotcha.